Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Listener discretion is advised. One of my most favorite things about having fighters on the show is the opportunity to dispel any preconceived notions people have about the sport of MMA and fighters in particular. My next guest is no exception to the rule. He is a combat medic in the Army National Guard. He coaches youth wrestling. He was a high school and collegiate wrestler himself, and currently he is Dynasty Combat Sports amateur flyweight champion. His goals in life are structured around servitude to others and making the world a better place. I'd like to welcome Vu Dinh to the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Caught on the Mic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting right across from Vu Dinh. He is Dynasty's amateur flyweight champ as of December 9th, was it?
8th. Saturday.
8th, yes! Yeah. I was at that event. It was a blast. My daughter got to sing the national anthem.
That's awesome. Yeah, she did a wonderful job while we were in the cage.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That was really great. Yeah.
I'll have to pass that on to her. So you and I were just talking a couple of minutes ago. You've been fighting since 2019.
Yes.
How did you find your pathway to that?
Yes. I guess my first start to combat sports was back in 7th grade when I decided to go out for middle school wrestling. It was the first sport I ever did. It was through LPS, Lincoln Public Schools. It was free, so I at first did it just to hang out with my friends, but I found a passion for it, and I had some sort of natural body awareness and talent to pick up stuff pretty quick. So I decided to stick with that all throughout high school, and then wrestled all 4 years in high school. Then afterwards, it kind of took a little gap year. I was originally going to join the military after high school in the Marine Corps. I tried that out, but my knee got injured in the process. Back in 2018, around June of that time frame. So that was off the window. So I thought I'd come back, go and wrestle in college, but the college I wanted to go to was a little pricey. So I was like, I'll take a gap year, just experience life a little bit. So that's when I was kind of working around in Lincoln, Nebraska. But then one of my old club coaches, Caleb Cole, 4-year starter for Nebraska, former Husker. He is originally from Pennsylvania, but he came back to Lincoln for a youth wrestling camp, and I was helping run the camp. He's like, "Hey brother, where are you up to?" I'm like, "I'm just kind of working right now." He's like, "Hey, how about you come with me, live with me in Pennsylvania, rent free, and I show you how to be an adult, have a fun time, and have some fun." And I'm like, shoot. I was like, I can't really pass this up. So I packed all my stuff up in about January of 2019. Went up there, lived with him. Was a volunteer assistant coach at the high school that he was coaching at, worked for his nonprofit. And I lived there for about 3 months. And in those 3 months, he was like, "Hey man, this is your gap year. It's what do you want to do? What can I do to make this memorable for you?" I'm like, I don't know. I think it'd be cool if I got in a cage fight, because he's like, a guy? I was like, I might know a guy. And then 2 weeks later, he comes back to me. He's like, "Hey, what do you want to fight at? 125 or 135? I'm like, you got me a fight? And he's like, "Yeah, I know a guy. His name's Chuck, and he runs fights out of bars and stuff in Ohio." I'm like, shoot, I guess 125, because at the time I was walking around 135. So I was like, heck yeah, let's just do 125. And he's like, "Cool, you got 7 weeks to train." And I think it was April 19th. So 7 weeks to train for that. I just used my time as a volunteer assistant coach kind of as my strength and conditioning for that first fight. Just stay in shape. And I joined a boxing gym, kind of picked up some striking, some YouTube, and then I don't know. So my first fight going in is just a lot of, wrestling experience. and just minimal like striking, but just enough to like get to my takedowns. I didn't know who my opponent was till like 2 weeks out. They finally gave me somebody, and they're like, yeah, it's this guy. He's just a boxer. So I think that'd be like a perfect matchup for you. I'm like, dude, that's this is perfect. It's like I just got to get to his legs, maybe eat a couple of punches, and have it be mine. And it's exactly what happened. I circled in the cage, and then he tried throwing an overhand. I saw it. I ducked it, double leg, ran halfway across the cage, pounded his face in. He gave me his back, double boots in, and then just went for the rear naked choke. Took my time, and yeah, that was the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So not only did you get in the cage for the first time with no experience, but you won your first fight.
Yes, 48 seconds. It was quick. I know. I couldn't have written it any better if I had tried, man. It was exhilarating. I was like, geez, this is what UFC fighters feel like. Like, my goodness, this is living right here.
That's awesome. And you still help coach wrestling here in Lincoln since you've been back.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually started coaching at my old youth wrestling club. At the time, it was called CES, Competitive Edge Sports. That was in Lincoln. And then I would go on and off with them when I would move back from Pennsylvania and stuff. But once I came back, actually, after Pennsylvania, I worked on a fishing boat in Alaska for a few months. This was to get money for school.
Sure.
Because I needed the college that I wanted to go and wrestle for. They're Division III, so they don't give out scholarships, and tuition is very pricey because they are like a private school. So I needed money to afford it. So I hit up another one of my off-season coaches. Name's Gage Anderson. His mom's like human resources for like big fishing companies out in Seattle and Alaska and stuff. So she hooked me up with a gig on a boat for 3 months to just kind of go process some fish and then make some good money. I made about $10K in the 3 months I worked, and then that was enough to pay for my schooling for the next semester. So what was it? So I get back August of 2019, and then I start school. I wrestle in college, and then my free time I'll just go and do privates, coach, and help out at CES.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So gaining that experience, moving from where we're at right now, out to Pennsylvania, then moving to Alaska, kind of getting a little bit a travel under your belt.
Yeah.
How do you feel that that's kind of influenced your story thus far? I mean, it's only been 5 years, but I'm sure it feels like a lifetime and a short span of time all at the same time.
It doesn't feel super special to me, but when I like tell other people, like my friends and stuff, they're like, dude, you're like living the dream. It's like, I wish I would have had these experiences. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of living life day by day, and whatever opportunities comes, I just say yes to it, just step outside of my comfort zone. And it's like, what if, it's like, it's going to be tough, like doing these things, but I feel like I have so much to gain from them. So it's like, why not, take up on this opportunity and stuff.
Yeah. Taking a step back, you were originally going to enlist in the Marine Corps, you said, right?
Yes.
And so you still managed to find a pathway to the military.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Oh, man. So I've always wanted to serve my country. My grandpa, he was fought in the Vietnam War. He was actually in prison war for 3 years. That's the whole reason why me and my family are here right now, because I was born in Vietnam originally, and I didn't immigrate here until I was 1 year old. And I don't know, I just love America. I've always wanted to, give back. So military has always, been a passion, because I think, there's great structure that it can provide, for your life, and a lot of opportunities for growth and like resources that you can use. So I don't know, a part of me always wanted to go back, but I didn't really quite have any means at the time. But eventually it came around in 2020. So I'm going to school 2019. I wrestled for Nebraska Wesleyan for about a semester and a half. And then I did my second fight for Dynasty. It was my first fight for Dynasty, but my second fight, late 2020. I did my second fight for them. And then I knew I wasn't going to go back to school to wrestle because it was just getting pricey. Like,
right.
All the tuition and stuff. I'm like, geez, I need to do something to like pay all this off. And then I see like some National Guard flyers that they'll help with like state tuition and among like other, opportunities and resources for you to grow. So I hit up my recruiter, and, we start talking on what opportunities there is for me. And, in the recruiting office, there's actually another recruiter. His name's Cody Keck. He also did fights for Dynasty and such. And so we got linked up pretty quick because they knew I had one fight and I wrestled. And then I'm hitting up Dynasty. I'm just like, well, I know I'm not going to be in school next semester. So why not do a fight? It's I'm in good cardio shape and I'm sure COVID's about to lift and all that stuff. So let's, hit up whoever the promoter is. So I hit up Andrew Train, the promoter's like, hey, do you have any more room left for a 125 flyweight? I'm 1-0. Got some college wrestling experience. I know it's 2 weeks, but I got some weight cutting experience. It's I'll take whoever. And then they're like, all right, would you fight this guy? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, crap, but I need a cornerman. So I was talking to my buddy Cody. I was like, hey, you want to corner me for this fight? He's like, heck yeah. So then I'm in really good college wrestling shape. And then I hit and then me and Cody, we just crack pads, do some light sparring. There's not much strength and conditioning that we did. It's just technical flows and such, just getting to my takedowns and all that. And, that's exactly what happened in the fight. It was a 3-round fight. I got the submission in the third after taking my opponent down a bunch of times. So that's when I was 2-0, after that fight. That was my debut for Dynasty. Where's that? So that was, late 2020. And then I'm waiting for my papers, all my paperwork to go through for the National Guard. But what was it? I was missing some of my immigration papers. So, and that takes a long time to order in, and COVID did not help with that process either. Sure. So it was a whole 1.5 years wait that I had to wait for my paperwork to come through.
Right.
So in the meantime, I just found a local job, working at a car wash, being a wash attendant, selling car memberships and such. And then just kind of training martial arts, for pastime hobby, and then just coaching. So I did that for about 1.5 years. Had my third fight in, 2021. So when I lost, my buddy Seth Deach out from Iowa. It was a little late notice replacement, but, then 2022, I had my fourth fight. I was against Hayden Premer from Kearney. He's coming off of, 2 KO, flying knee KO knockouts. Yeah. And, so I was like, dang, he's dangerous. But this fight, it excites me.
You're right.
It's my juices flowing. And it was going to be my first fight, in Lincoln at Pinnacle. I'm like, I can't pass this up. And, so that was May of 2022. So I put together full camp with, all my coaches there. And, we're leveling up the striking, just figuring out ways to blend it in with my wrestling and, just neutralize, all of his, weapons. Sure. And that's what ended up happening the fight. I won a 3-round unanimous decision. And so then that's where 3-1 at this point. Yeah, 3-1 shortly after that fight, my paperwork for the military finally comes into the mail. I'm like,
crazy.
Let's go. So we finally go up to the MEP station up in Omaha, and then we finally get the process rolling. And then I leave for boot camp for the Army. September of 2022 was when I left. I decided to enlist as a combat medic. So that'd be very fitting because for me, I have a passion of being of service to others, just helping people.
Love it.
Gives me purpose, gets my juices flowing more, and just makes me happy at the end of the night knowing
love that.
I made this world, a little better place. Than
I love that. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to just save, I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert. Usually my last question is what's your advice for making the world a better place?
Yeah.
So I love that. We don't even need to go to that question because we can just discuss it here.
Absolutely.
Out in the open. Did you find when you went to boot, where did you go?
I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for 10 weeks.
September, that's pretty hot.
Yeah. No, it's actually really cold.
Was it really?
In Fort Sill, Oklahoma, the weather's almost like Nebraska, pretty bipolar, where it's just sunny one day, snowy the next, rainy the next. You never know what you're going to get.
Did you find that coming off of essentially what is 4 fights and collegiate wrestling, that maybe basic training might not have been as challenging for you as some of the other members of your class?
Yeah. So I knew going in, all the physical stuff, boot camp, all the yelling from the drill sergeants, it's not going to faze me.
Right.
The only hard part about all the training, it was just my patience. with people just because you are around these people like 24/7. You eat, sleep, and train with them. And, sometimes people are going to get on each other's nerves, say things they don't really mean. And, just, you got to be able to, be patient with other people and just be understanding and, be able to work and, lead them through that. I actually graduated basic with honors, top of my class, out of 240.
Awesome. So you did basic and your MOS all in one?
No, that's OSIT. So I did all my basic in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, but then was it around December? That's when we got done with basic, where we just learned, the basics of being a soldier,
right? Shooting,
marching, all that. For my MOS training, early December, I took a bus from Fort Sill, Oklahoma, all the way down to San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, crazy!
During the winter months, which was awesome, not having to deal with the snow for so long. And there, I was just learning how to be a combat medic, where it's 16 weeks of training. First 6 weeks is just all EMT stuff. So it's death by PowerPoint. You learn just the anatomy, physiology of the human body, flow of blood, and the interventions that you would take. You learn how to control the airway, the breathing, circulation, all that, fun jazz. First 6 weeks. And then the last 10 is what they call whiskey phase, where it's, you apply everything as an EMT onto the battlefield in a more combat setting, where you learn how to throw the procedure of throwing on a tourniquet, how high, just a bunch of different.
With that experience, has the Dynasty guys or Henry or anybody hit you up and said, "Hey, Vu, we need a medic for this fight. You're not on this card, man, but we need a medic for this fight." Has that happened?
No, not yet. I don't think they know. I haven't talked too much. They know I'm in the guard, but I don't think they know what I do.
They know now, brother.
I got your back. Whoever. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. So, of all the places that you fought so far, what has been your most favorite venue that you fought in?
Definitely Pinnacle Bank. I love fighting at home. Pinnacle Bank's such a great venue. Literally, was it the Spring Brawl card the month before I fought? There was a Snoop Dogg concert on 420. And then I'm dang, I'm literally fighting at this same venue. And then the month after my fight, they had an Ice Cube concert. I'm dude, this is this is awesome. And then they actually had a UFC fight night, Gaethje versus Vic, back in 2017 when I was in high school. I'm dude, and I'm fighting here where all these great things happen. It's this is where, my high school graduation happened. So, and it's dang, I get to fight here.
Dude, don't get me started. I have not gone to a fight card at Pinnacle Bank aside from Dynasty. Yeah. But I was so bummed out spring of 2020 when UFC was supposed to come and it was going to be Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. Okay. As the main event.
Yeah, because he's from Omaha. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, we really missed one there.
I wish they would start touring and go back on the road and hit some towns like ours again.
Yes, either Omaha or Lincoln. Come on, we have the CHI Center, we have Pinnacle. Come on, that's big enough to hold enough people.
Right. So that's actually where I was going to go next. Is do you find yourself being a fan of the sport overall, and who are some of your favorite fighters?
Yes, definitely a fan of the sport. I have been since I've been young. I love the way fighters think and how they approach life. It's just fighting, wrestling, fighting. It's just it's been such an amazing tool to help me overcome, adversity, whatever life may throw at me. Just understanding how it works. So I've always been a fan of it. Some of my favorite fighters, first fighter I ever really knew, it was Kung Lee, because he's Vietnamese, just like myself. My dad introduced me to him first, just because when he won the Strikeforce title against, who was Frank Shamrock, where he roundhouse kicked and broke his shoulder. My dad's oh, you gotta watch this guy. He's Vietnamese. He wrestled just he's a wrestler. He wrestled and stuff. Yes. Now he does Sonda and Sancho and all that stuff. And then he just won the Strikeforce title. So, he's definitely, up there as one of my favorites. He's kind of started this whole journey. And honestly, one of the reasons why I probably started wrestling in 7th grade, I was damn, my dad's getting hyped off of him wrestling. Right. And so I'm all right, I'm gonna give this a try and see how far I can go. So, Kung Lee is one of them. And then, TJ Dillashaw. I love his style, his footwork. It's I don't know, just art, just watching him shift in and out, and then just former collegiate wrestler. I'm just like, all right, he's like a wrestler turned striker. It's like, this is what I want. I want to, make it art when I'm in there.
Yes.
And then me and him actually share the same birthday too, February 7th. So that's another one. Same with, along with Derek Lewis, his is also February 7th. So
I love that guy.
Yeah.
The
What a
best
character.
Post-fight interviews ever.
Yes, there's never a dull moment with him on the mic.
So if you hadn't figured it out yet, via either listening to the show or this line of questioning, I consider Caught on the Mic kind of a Trojan horse.
Yes.
Like in the way that I can have a fighter on my show, I can have a musician on my show, I can have a stand-up comic on my show, but the thing that I like to focus on is the journey. And you said something just a few moments ago that I swear, man, it couldn't have been said better if I handed you a script.
Yes.
Because I always say my favorite part about interviewing fighters and having fighters on the show is breaking people's preconceived notions of what makes up who a fighter is.
Yes.
Fighters always have the best mindset.
Yes.
They always have the best journey, and they always seem to expel some of the best advice throughout all of it.
Yeah, we go through a lot that life throws us, a lot of adversity, and I feel like through adversity, you just gain a lot of wisdom through it, versus like the average person.
It's amazing. Like I really do enjoy speaking with fighters specifically for all the reasons that you're kind of sharing with your story. Take me back to December. You take on Mike Tyson for a belt. How did that moment feel?
You just want to talk about the lead up a little bit and all that? Sure. So what was it? I get back from training in the Army around, what was it? Like April, June. Yeah, June. And then I just have a couple months off, and then I'm trying to find a job to work, and then I end up working full time for the Guard and stuff. And so I'm doing that, and then I'm just kind of training jiu-jitsu at Lincoln Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time. And then I was talking to Henry. I was like, I fight like once every year. Like that's, I fought in 2019, 2020, 21, 22. Now it's like 2023 is about to be over, and there's not a whole lot of fights left. There's like maybe the Ralston card, and then maybe something in December. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I got to get one in before like the year's over. So I hit up Henry, and I'm like, hey, do you have any more room like on the December card? I think I'll be ready by December. And then he's like, yeah, I'll try and get you somebody. So I'm like, cool. He texts me. It's like, will you fight Mike Tyson for the flyweight title? I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. I know how to take it. I was like, I know who Mike was because I saw him fight two of my teammates, Cade Morton and Zach Mendez from Bomb Squad. So I'm like, he's a tough guy. And I know he's like a really good high school wrestler. He's got some experience, and he's really well rounded. So not a whole lot of holes in his game, but I feel like this is a very doable, and it's like, this is for a title fight. It's like, what do I have to lose?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I might be a little rusty because, I've been away from, and he's been like super active in the past 2 years, where he's had 4 fights in the past 2 years, and his latest one was in August. So I'm like, so he's definitely been like trained year round. He's like in the zone and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a little tough, but if I dial everything in and I just use all my resources and just dedicate the next 10 some weeks to all this, I can make it happen. And, if I don't, then at least, this experience is going to make me a better human. So I was talking to my coach, and we're going over film, and he's like, I think we can get it done. So I text Henry like, let's do it. So put together a 10-week fight camp, with all my coaches. And then we're just, looking at patterns, and just moves that he loves to throw, and then just finding counters for them and just drilling. And then during the camp, we also got a new instructor for Muay Thai. His name's Mike Wheeler. Mm-hmm. He's originally from Mid-America, but he moved to Thailand for about 3 years to just kind of live, breathe, and eat Muay Thai.
Yes.
And then he took that experience back, came back, applied for the job at Lincoln Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he got the job as one of the Thai instructors. And then for me, I've always like wanted to learn Muay Thai.
Yes.
And it's just like watching TJ Dillashaw's like bang Muay Thai. I'm just like, dang, if only I could like strike like that, or like just figure out how to flow with my combinations, like start popping elbows or knees or something. It's like, oh man. So I just absorbed as much as I could from. He came into my fight camp about 3 weeks before the fight was supposed to happen. So I got in as much work with him as possible, just learn how to check kicks, catch them, and just create my angles to get openings for either, my striking or my takedowns. And, that's exactly, what happened, in the fight. I just programmed these patterns and these counters like in my brain. And, just when it happened, when I see it, when I recognize it, I don't know, my body just reacted just by reflex. So, it's kind of walk through the fight. It was, we touch gloves. I fake a teep, see how he would react. And then he's not moving too forward or anything. So I blast 2 leg kicks, just kind of see how he'd react. Didn't throw a whole lot of power. I just want to see how he would, react if he'd, back away, move forward, try to counter, or if he would just stay still. So I threw the first one. Then the second one, he tried to counter, but I think he was trying to fake a cross, and then he threw that rear leg kick, and I was like, oh, here it is. And then I check it. I catch it with my hand. I kind of throw it by, and then I was going to try and throw like a right overhand, but my arm was fully extended. I was like, dang, I'm not going to reach him in time. I'm like, but I have such a sweet angle right here where I could just take him down. So then I transitioned from that overhand into like a body lock. And then from there, it was just high school, college wrestling all over again. Just simple mat return, get the back, stay calm, composed, got my hook in, and then I was just being patient here. I'm like, all right, you got 4 minutes. You're in such great position here. Just keep it, keep it. Just see how he reacts. Wait for him to panic a little bit, and then just capitalize off of his mistake. So I'm just on top with like 1 hook in, and then just waiting to see how he reacts. I wasn't sure if he was going to walk me over to his coaches or if he was going to do something funky, because I knew he was a funky wrestler. So he decided to do a forward roll. I'm like, oh, here it is. Bam. And then this is something that not a lot of people know. I guess I'll just tell everybody. He actually messed up my shoulder pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah, in that fight. I know. It's if you look at it, it looks like I came out unscathed, but he actually separated my AC joint with that roll.
Oh.
Yeah. So he rolled, and it was my left shoulder that hit the mat, just both our body weight on impact. Boom. At the time, I had adrenaline rushing through me, so I was just like, it didn't hurt like too bad at the time, but my shoulder felt warm. After I recovered the position, I was like, dang, why is my left shoulder like so warm right now? I was like, I should probably like try and finish this in case like it's something bad. So I'm just like, all right, breathe here, stay calm, just see how he reacts. He's trying to arm bar me like a crossbody arm bar. Right. But I just kept wiggling my arm out and just waiting for him to react. He tried to stand up, try to scramble out, but I just kept riding his hips really hard. And then I managed to stick both of my boots in and just kind of flatten him out, throw some punches, and then sink in some chokes. I tried choking him out with my good arm, my right arm, but it was more to just kind of make him panic, make him pressure. It wasn't quite underneath his chin, that first one that I tried to throw. And then then he finally bellied out again, tried to build his base, and I just flattened him out again. And then my right arm was gassed. I was like, oh, dude. You only have one chance at this, and it's like I have no idea how bad this shoulder is, and I don't even know if I can like throw a jab. It's like, dude, you have to end this like right now, and you have so much time left. It's, dude, take your time. You're in such a good spot. Just keep these boots in. So that's when I transitioned over to my left, my bad shoulder, and I just cranked it as hard as I could. And then I managed to get the top. I'm like, wow. What? And like the ref pulls me off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Well, and it felt like it went so fast.
It did. I don't know. It's
the
time
whole
flies,
night, though.
yeah.
Actually, that whole like after the youth wrestling, like I guess the main card, you would say, after the youth wrestling,
first round
finishes. I know.
We're flying through. I'm in the back locker room. I'm just like, geez Louise, I'm about to be
right.
I was expecting to be till like midnight, but my fight didn't happen till like 11:30. I'm like, all right, let's do
that's my wife and I were sitting there, and I'm like, this is going by fast, man. Like, it's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So you're gonna fight on the next Dynasty Combat Sports card in April. We don't have the date for certain.
Yes.
Those of you that are listening to this, make sure you're following Dynasty Combat Sports on social media. Actually, make sure you're following my guest, Vu Dinh, on social media as well. So you've got an opponent?
Yes.
Let's talk about the future.
Yes. So Brendan Kenter, how this fight came to be. What was it? It was before the Omaha Ralston card. It was during fight week where I'm still healing from my shoulder injury and I'm going into the gym when it's starting to feel better and I'm starting to train again. And I run into Henry, the matchmaker. And, and I'm like, hey, is it safe to say that my first title defense is going to probably be for Spring Brawl, in Lincoln again? And he's like, oh, shoot, I didn't even think about that. I thought you were going to be in like school. And he's like, yeah, sure. If you want. I'm like, sweet. Who would we, have in mind? And for me, it was, I wanted to avenge my loss to, my buddy Seth out in Iowa, but, just some stuff happened and that fight's not going to happen. And then he's like, how about the winner of Mendez versus Kenner? I'm like, I trained with Zach, right? Mendez. He's like, yeah, but he asked me that, he wanted a title fight. And he's like, well, Vu's kind of the champ right now. So here, how about this? You just fight Kenner. And then if you win that, then, we'll get you a title fight. I'm like, all right. It's like, normally I don't, fight teammates or anything, but I understand. It's like, you're just chasing your dreams at the end of the day. And, we're so many bros at the end of the day. It is what it is. So so that fight happens. I go to the card. Henry gets me some table seats, and then I'm watching the fights, and my buddy Zach ends up losing. It's Kenner, unanimous decision, I believe. And then right before the fight actually happened, Henry came up to me. He's like, hey, whoever wins this, I want you to come up to the cage, grab me, and then we'll face you off. And
whoa!
Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is some WWE, UFC type vibes. So I'm like, hey, I wasn't expecting this when I came.
Trying to create the Brock Lesnar, Daniel Cormier moment.
Yep. So that's what we did. I didn't want to take away anything from my opponent.
Right.
Because, that's his night. That's a big win for him. So I wasn't going to make any drama out of it. It's just not, in my character or anything. So I just wanted to congratulate him. He's doing his speech with Kendall, and then they face us off. During the face off, I was like, "Hey man, good fight. Let's good luck, train hard, and let's give the people a really good freaking show."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's exciting. So I should probably clarify that this fight is going to take place either April 19th or April 20th at the Pinnacle Bank Arena here in Lincoln, Nebraska. So those of you that are not from Nebraska or not from Lincoln, it's going to be a good weekend to make the drive out. What drives you personally?
Yes.
Outside of fighting, like outside of wrestling, what kind of things inspire you?
For me, it's just like helping people. I don't know. Nothing like makes me happier than, and it's like where I get my worth and just like helping people, whether if it's like, I don't know, with like homework growing up or just teaching them like a new skill. I don't know. I just love giving people skills in life to, just help them live a more fulfilling life. Cause it's like I've fallen into the hole of like getting complacent, and it's just like, man, I'm not stimulating. I feel like I'm just existing here. I'm not thriving. It's like, I only get one life to live. It's like, why live this way? So it's, I don't know, being able to give people those tools to live a more fulfilling life. I don't know. That makes me feel like pretty complete at the end of the day. So it's definitely one of my passions, being, service to other people. Other than fighting, coaching, I have to say, I'm a bit of a weeb. I watch anime in my free time. I actually get a lot of inspiration from certain animes like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, just like fighting animes, their journey. So I'll watch some animes in my free time. Video games, friends every now and then. Other than that, I don't know. My life pretty much revolves around training and coaching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. There is actually he's one of Drew Dober's coaches.
Yes.
Sean Madden. He trains Muay Thai in Colorado. He's a friend of mine.
Yes.
And I asked him the same exact question, and he gave me almost the same exact answer. He's like, dude, he goes, outside of coaching and training Muay Thai and all this, he goes, that's all I do.
Yep. It's pretty simple, but pretty cool life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I have been preaching a lot of this on the podcast lately. I've been talking about the book Atomic Habits. I am on my second listen through of it.
Yes.
So I am in this mindset right now where I focus a lot more on processes versus focusing on goals.
Yes.
The whole philosophy is focus on refining your processes. The goals tend to take care of themselves.
Yes.
So, with that said, and not to contradict myself, but Vu, what's your goals in the long term? Like, where do you see yourself 1 year from now, 5 years from now?
I don't know. I have two different separate lives. So I have my military goals and then my like mixed martial art goals.
Share them both.
So for me, I'm a huge adrenaline junkie. I gotta be doing like really high speed stuff. I'm really thinking about possibly trying out for Special Forces, Green Beret for the Army.
Nice.
I really think it'd be really up my alley. I'd try and become a 18 Delta Special Forces medical sergeant, go the medical route. It's about 3 years worth of training, but I feel like I have a lot to gain from it, and it just matches like who I am, like as my character, all my morals. So I could see myself training up for that. I don't know. I'm still in the process of like trying to find recruiters to talk to. So there's that possibly within a year. And then for MMA, I don't think too far ahead. I kind of just take it fight by fight, and then I just constantly train year round. I want to do more fights, outside of Dynasty, branch out a little more, because I think, I kind of almost ran through, everybody in Nebraska. So getting more fights out of state, other promotions, probably like LFA.
Right. Yeah.
And then just see where this journey, takes me. It'd be nice to, fight for big organizations like Bellator, UFC, but
I was going to ask you, do you ever foresee fighting actually becoming your occupation full time?
Yeah, for me right now, it's just a big risk and gamble just because I want to be like very financially free. So it's if I can ever get into a spot. So I don't know. This is kind of my plan. I was going to do special. Yeah. So here it is. I become a Green Beret, just like Tim Kennedy, and then just use, all my training and like mentality and like the mental fortitude that special force training would, instill in me to make me like even to a more deadly warrior and like weapon, and then just make more connections in the MMA world just with having that on my resume, and then getting bigger camps and just better like instructors to just hone me into like a more complete fighter, and then just make myself more marketable. Yeah. And then give myself those like big promotion fights for UFC, Bellator, or wherever this journey takes me.
Dude,
so
you gotta manifest it. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like,
absolutely.
Based on what I watched in December and just kind of the history that you're sharing with me, you're an exciting fighter, man.
Thank you.
Why wouldn't you try and do it? Like, why wouldn't you manifest that?
Yeah, man, you only get one life. You might as well go full send everything each and every day with the purpose.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, of course, like I gave you the spoiler alert earlier, what is your advice for making the world a better place tomorrow than what it is today?
Have empathy for other people. Like, the world doesn't revolve around you. You gotta slow it down a little bit, because there are gonna be negative people out there. Don't let them rob you, of your energy and like who you are, like as a person. Have them make you bitter, sour. Don't change who you are at the core. Just have empathy for them. Recognize like, they are having a tough time, tough day, and just be willing to listen to, whatever it is they're going through. Cause that really goes a long ways. Just feeling heard, but stepping outside your comfort zone, trying to learn and grow every day, having good morals. I guess that's another way that you can make the world a better place. At least that's what I try to do. Learn and grow I don't know, just do something every day to like challenge you. Step outside your comfort zone. There's so much growth that'll happen, when you just do that.
Dude, I am so glad that we got to connect and
Yes.
have this conversation. We can call each other friends now.
Yeah,
so
heck
we
yeah,
run
Mike.
into each other here in Lincoln,
Absolutely.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
You know, you have an ally in me, and I feel I have an ally in you. Thank you so much
Yes.
for doing the show, man.
Yes.
The world is a better place with you in it, man.
I appreciate it, Mike.
I think one of my most favorite parts of that conversation is realizing how much life my guest has lived in such a short amount of time. This was a very rare episode where we recorded in person. This wasn't remote, so that was pretty awesome. I want to thank Vu Dinh for doing the show today. I want to thank my friend Henry from Dynasty Combat Sports for helping set this up. Make sure you're following Dynasty Combat Sports on all social media platforms. And while you're being generous with these social media follows, make sure you are following Caught on the Mic on the same platforms. Visit me, www.caughtonthemic.com. All inquiries, go to my email, caughtonthemic@gmail.com. This has been Caught on the Mic with Michael Clark. I'm Michael Clark. Until next time, thank you.